They're here. Neuralink is here. Welcome back.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Good. I've got Brad upstairs. Let's start upstairs, then he can give feedback.
Yeah.
With in the bed setting. Brad, I'm gonna move you back, and do you want me to put the curtain up so you have less of that light?
Hey, Brad. Good morning, Brad. This is Sahaj here from Neuralink. So yeah, the plan today is we wanted to play around with the chat app. We just added a couple new features.
Most recently, we're working on the chat app.
All right, let me go ahead. Oops, sorry about that. That's my fault.
It listens to what the other person has to say, and then it uses AI to come up with a response based on the context of the conversation.
It disappears too fast.
Yeah, I think when someone says something too, it kind of regenerates the prompts as well.
Yeah, totally. We want to tune that a bit more.
If Sammy were here, we'd already have this solved.
That's a lie.
I'm definitely happy to have anything to keep me in the conversation. We are working together to make it better. My problem is that I enjoy the ridiculous answers it gives me.
We did like
Sorry, I'm being a bit of a jerk. I'll tone it down. But seriously, folks, I have spent years trying to decide what to say in a conversation.
Also, the next thing we can do is set up some custom tones. And then from there, we can update to a version of the chat app that lets you actually set your tones.
Just recently, in the last couple of days, they've played with it and tweaked it so that they can change the intonation quite a bit and say it in a serious tone or a joking tone or an angry tone.
Let me know if there's anything else you need.
We talk about his voice and how it's changed.
Yeah. So we had recordings of his voice, and we were able to recreate a digital AI voice. That's been really fun to hear.
It is actually weird to hear my voice after years of not hearing it. I have been working with 11 Labs to do the voice work. I recorded myself reading some things on my phone years ago. The recordings were enough to make a pretty good copy of my voice. I always hated to hear my voice on recordings, but I don't mind it now. It also makes my friends and family really happy to hear my voice again.
Okay, you guys ready?
No, I'm still sticking it.
Okay.
I am absolutely doing more with Neuralink than I was doing with eye gaze. I have been a Batman for a long time, but I go outside now. Going outside has been a huge blessing for me. And I can control the computer with telepathy.
Dad's watching. Look, he's watching on the camera. Did we lose one of the arms?
I love being with my kids on the playground or at the pool.
3,
Okay.
2, 1.
It is more work for Tiffany, unfortunately. Tiffany is the greatest person I've ever known, and I get to spend eternity with her. My kids are doing good, especially under the circumstances. Life is good.
Big announcement today. What is it?
We are announcing the principal investigator for our upcoming clinical trial, Dr. David Brandman, who is a neurosurgeon at UC Davis, and our investigator at Mass General Hospital, Dr. Dan Rubin, who is a neurologist.
And they're combining to team up with you for a new brain implant to help people speak after a stroke?
Yes, so we're building a brain-computer interface. It's a high data rate modem that exchanges data between a brain and a computer. And the first use case for this is going to be people who can't speak anymore because of paralysis. People who can't speak, can't move their hands, but using a brain implant, they'll be able to communicate their thoughts to a computer and then speak again through a computer.
How does that work? Where does it go in the brain? How does it speak to the computer? Is it just all by impulses?
So I actually carry around a copy of the device here in my pocket. It is implantable. So this little device goes under the skull, on the surface of the brain, and then On here, it's too small to see by camera, but there are 421 tiny little platinum iridium microwires that are each smaller than a human hair. And they can reach down into the brain and record from individual neurons. And so when someone who is paralyzed attempts to move or attempts to speak, the neurons in their brain are still doing what they would have been doing when they could control their body, but they're not talking to anything. But if you put a brain implant in that area and listen to the neurons, you can figure out what the person was trying to do and communicate it to a computer. So in the case of our first clinical trial, someone will be trying to speak. No sound will be coming from their body, but the computer will know what they're trying to say and will produce the speech.
That is amazing. Where do you see this technology going? You're starting with speech, but where do you see the horizon?
It's almost limitless. So a brain-computer interface is fundamentally just a way of getting data out of the brain and into a computer, or from a computer and into the brain. And in some ways, there's so many different problems in medical science, in biology, that we don't have a cure for. If someone severs their spinal cord, we can't grow them a new spinal cord, but we know that we can take their movement intentions and help them control a wheelchair, control a robotic arm. But even things you might not think of, like for instance,
Meet Mark. Mark has ALS and can't use his hands. This means he can't use his hands to control a computer or any of his devices. Mark has Synchron's brain-computer interface, also known as a BCI. It sits in a blood vessel on his brain and senses his brain activity. This information is translated into commands and seamlessly sent from the BCI to the digital device he'd like to use. No open brain surgery was required to implant this device. Now, let's watch Mark use his BCI to help control his Apple Vision Pro. Navigating within a Vision Pro screen requires the use of your hands, eyes, and voice. Much like other VR headsets, the user makes selections by looking at what they'd like to engage with and pinching their fingers together to make a selection. The Synchron BCI makes the Vision Pro accessible by bypassing the need for hand gestures and allowing the user to interact with the Vision Pro through a combination of eye tracking and thought-controlled selection. First, Mark's going to send a text. Even though he cannot move his fingers to type on the keyboard, he can use his Synchron BCI to select words or letters by moving the cursor and thinking about moving his hand. Each time a new word populates in the text field, that means Mark chose that word, just by thinking about moving his hand. Now let's watch Mark play a game. When wearing the Vision Pro, he can play an immersive game of hands-free solitaire by looking at his card of choice and selecting it by thinking about moving his hand.
Shalom, Koholayim La, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Also give a Daban Infidels of GMS, then honest ᛖark. Peace and bless you, brothers and sisters that listen, the Church of the Firstborn, the hopeful elect, Koholayim La, Yahweh Bahashem El Shai. And I forgot to do this video, but it's all spiritual, man. We had mentioned this briefly at camp, the whole brain-computer interface, right? And Trump making his trip, he just came back from the Middle East, meeting all these leaders, right? And with these billionaires. What were they talking about, man? Right? Because we see now with Synchron, Paradromics, Neuralink, right? You have all these, they all, see if I could put some videos in a post-production. You have all these companies are now competing in neurotechnology, that space. This is the next big thing, right? This is the ᛖark of the beast, man. Implantable devices that they want to put in your brain, man. Right? We know Elon Musk is the Neuralink, right? You have Synchron, which I believe that's backed by Apple, right? And being able to also Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates is supporting Synchron. All these billionaires. And then you have a smaller startup. I forgot who owns that. I believe it's Matt. I can't remember the guy's last name. Matt Engel, who owns the Paradromics. Okay? people who lost their ability to speak and move. They create all these BCIs. They're saying that's the original meaning behind a lot of these developments, right? It's to help paraplegics, right? People can't do for themselves. However, they can still communicate with these devices by putting these, have these devices controlling the neurons in their brain, man. Right? This is all a part of the Great Reset. This is invasive technology, and we've been saying it. And right now, it's all in clinical trials, man. Clinical trials, man. Right? This all ties to the 2030 agenda. You have guys talking about 20 to 30 more years. Oh my gosh, man. 20 to 30 more years, man. When Esau is telling you not that they're going to start in 2030, mean they want to be finished by 2030. Right? You had, and like we know, you brothers and sisters should, if you listen to the channel, you listen to the brothers and the apostles, we always go into what the Agenda 2030 is, and the Great and the NWO, and the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Right? Digital ID, one world currency, social credit score. Right? You had fools like Elon Musk, universal basic income. The common motto is you will own nothing and you will be happy, man. That's a common phrase. According to Klaus Schwab, and everybody will have a carbon footprint, 15-minute cities. Just like you had all these mysterious flyers in LA. Now they're talking about Smart City LA 2028. See, because the Olympics and also the World Cup is coming, man. So Esau is moving with these, he's moving forward with these agendas, man. Right? Making you and technology one, everything biometric, man, which is total identity control. And you also had Trump, who just came back from the Middle East, man. Right? They have this, see if I can show in the post-production. See if I can show a lot of these clips in the post-production, right? This whole NEOM over there in Saudi Arabia, right? Some dystopia smart city in the middle of the desert, man. Okay? Where they're going to be using renewable energy and less oil reserves, and everything is going to be controlled by AI, man. And when they want to accomplish this, I believe it's called the line, right? Connect the Red Sea to the Saudi Arabia. They want to have this up by 2030. He just came back from the Middle East, man. And it wasn't just him that went. He went with other billionaires. Okay, I can see if I can post this article. All right, there's this article. It says, Trump joined by dozens of CEOs during his Middle East trip. What are these billionaires coming together for, man? Or to make the world a better place? You'd be a fool to believe that, man. Okay, he went with many executives. Matter of fact, let's read some of them. Right, and that's a Saudi Arabia project that they're working on. This NEOM, this smart city, man. Right, you have smart LA, right? That's where you have more and more bike lanes in these different cities. Less cars, less carbon, right? But who went with him? You had Elon Musk, which we know was the head of Tesla, SpaceX, Alex Karp. You go to the most, you had NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI. Who else? You had Larry Fink, the second richest man in the world, CEO of BlackRock, right? Remember Trump signed a project with Larry Fink and Sam Altman. It was this, that's what you call it, Stargate AI, right? Which pretty much the health industry being run and controlled by AI, artificial intelligence. Whatever disease you have cancer, they could create a juice particularly for your DNA in 24 hours, man. Right? So they're saying, oh, we're making all this progress. We're trying to save the planet. That's a lie, man. So Esau is speaking with a forked tongue, man. This is all about control, man. All about control. And if you don't take those juices in the future, it's tied to your social credit score. At the same time, the world population will be down. According to them, they want it down by 500 million and implant the rest, man. Right? So Trump had signed that. I believe it was early January. We'd have put that video up, man. See, this is what we're talking about. This is the prophets of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. bringing all these things to light, man. Guys talking about 20 to 30 more years. The enemy's on the move. Let's get Isaiah chapter 32, verse 7. All right. So the Great man. The Great they moving full speed ahead. So we know in order for that to happen, in order for it to be a society that's controlled by digital currency and AI and a surveillance state, certain events have to happen, because Esau, according to him, the deadline is 2030. Right? And Klaus Schwab said that 2030 is a red herring. So meaning they gonna make their move, man. Right? That's what scripture said. Get Isaiah 30:27. It says, the instruments also of the churl are evil. He deviseth wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speak right. Destroy the poor with lying words. That's Esau, man. And these are his devices or his schemes. Scriptures, we're not ignorant of his devices or his plans. That's why we bring it out. That's why Yahweh Shem Shah have his men out there warning you. Same thing with the juice when C19 came out, right? Which we told you not to mess with that, man. Right now you got a lot of people due to the juice. A whole lot of young people dropping dead, heart attack, stroke, right? Cancer, women not getting paid, all this stuff, and it's still effing with your body, man. Right? Because that's the devices of Detroit. You destroy the poor with lying words. Oh, we'll give you money if you take the juice. Right? We'll pay for your college. You could win the lotto. You can do X, Y, and Z. Right? And it was for free. See? And you was able to go back to the stadiums and do X, go back with your regular life. It's the same thing. That was just a preview for the main thing that's coming, which is the MOTB. All right, this is the devices of the churl, man. Let me get Psalms 140th chapter. So this is a quick video to the power of Yahweh Shem Shah. See if I can show some clips in the post-production on this whole thing. This is it, man. Those brain-computer interfaces, and we already know he already has it for your hand. Right? They asked that banker, how does this digital currency look like? He said it's going to be placed underneath your skin. Psalms 140 says, deliver me, O Yahweh Shem Shah, from the evil man. Preserve me from the violent man, which imagine mischiefs in their hearts, continually their minds. So all these people gathering together, billionaires coming together, traveling with Trump, they're imagining mischiefs in their heart. Right? They tell you it's for health industry and to help people and to help paraplegics. That's all a lie, man. It's about control. It's about digital identity, man. Right? A surveillance state. You won't even have access to your own thoughts anymore. Because this man, he has a God complex. It says, which imagine mischiefs in their heart, continue are they gathered together for war. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent. Adder's poison is under their lips. Venom. All right? Adder's poison is under their lips. Don't believe anything these people are saying. Don't be deceived, man. No matter how good they package it, man, this man is the devil, man. And we in a time now we have to start leaning on Yahweh Shem Shah more and more and more, according to Isaiah the 10th chapter. Right? Can no longer rely on the serpent, man, and his system. See? Because he wants to implant that thing in you. It says, read on, it says, keep me, O Yahweh Shem Shah, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from the violent man who have purpose to overthrow my goings. Let me jump down to verse 8. Grant not, O Yahweh Shem Shah, the desires of the wicked. Further not his wicked device, lest they exalt themselves. Man, his NWO. Right? He wants to be the Most High. Know what you're thinking at all times, man. Same thing like Minority Report. They had thought crimes, man. Okay, so this is all deceit, man. Right? This man has a track record of deceiving. The scripture says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but words in his heart of his mind. Look what he did to Gad, man. Broke all 400 treaties, came in the name of Christianity, and stole the entire land. Right? What he do to these other countries, democracy and freedom. He's going to take your resources. What he did to us in the past. Right? When we first got, they first was coming into power during the time of the Greeks, especially Antiochus Epiphanes, who came out of the Seleucus line. Let's get to actually First Maccabees chapter 1. verse, let's see, I think when he sent Heliodorus, Antiochus Epiphanes. Look at that. First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 27. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and that she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. The land also was moved for habitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion when the Greeks came in. After 2 fully years expired, the king sent chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, I believe this is Heliodorus, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them, but that all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, when they believed him, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. Man. Scripture says he came with what? Peaceable words, man. Okay, peaceable words, man. Like now, oh, see, we helping the blind, and we helping people who could pretty much in a vegetable state, man. Right? We helping them able to communicate with device, communicate with their loved ones. Right? Helping people that never walked before. See? All through the use of technology. And the scripture says people were deceived in the book of 2 Thessalonians, man. By those miracles, man. See? And you got guys who still can't see the mark of the beast. They still can't see it, man. Let me get editions of Esther. These guys still can't see it, man. Crazy, man. But let's read the edition of Esther. If you don't know the story of Esther, Haman, who was an Edomite and a Amalekite, tried to destroy our nation because Mordecai did not bow down to him. But the snares he set for Mordecai fell upon him and his entire family. The gallows he made for Mordecai fell upon him and his sons, man. All right? But let's read this, though. That's what we keep the high holiday called Purim. But let's read the edition of Esther, chapter 16. This is what the Persians and the Medes wrote about Haman, who was only second to the king at that time. Let me read this, though. Where I'm at. Let's read at... edition of Esther, chapter 16. ᛖark, let me get this book, man. Alright, it says, the great King Artaxerxes unto the princes and governors of the 127 provinces from India unto Ethiopia. They had a vast empire, one of the biggest empires in the ancient world, the Persians and the Medes, right, all the way up, even up into Europe, man. And to all faithful subjects greeted. So he's writing to them, right? Let me jump on down to verse 4. And take not only thankfulness away from among men, but also lifted up with glorious words lewd persons that were never good. They think to escape the justice of the Most High, that seeing all things that hated evil. Right? He's going into Haman or Haman, right? Verse 6, beguiling with falsehood and deceit of their lewd dispositions, the innocency and goodness of princes. Now he may see this as we have declared, not so much by ancient histories as ye may, but ye search what have done wickedly late through the pestilent behavior of them that are unworthily placed in authority. So he's talking about Haman, and the mischief this guy was causing, man. Because he didn't care about the Persian and Medes. He cared about his forwarding his own agenda. Right? Let's jump down to verse 10. For Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Amadath, who was an Agite, right? Who was an Amalekite when you track the history in 1 Samuel the 15th chapter, being indeed a stranger from Persian blood and far distant from our goodness, and a stranger received of us. It says, He says, and had so far attained the favor that we show toward every nation, as that called our father and continually honored of all next person unto the king. Let's jump down to verse. Let's read. But he, not bearing his great dignity, went about to deprive us of our kingdom and life. This is what he did. Right? Not only take down Mordecai, he tried to deprive the Persians and the Medes of their own kingdom. Why? Having by manifold and cunning deceits sought of us the destruction, as well as of Mordecai, who saved our life and continually procured our good. as also the blameless Esther partake of our kingdom, which their whole nation. So his whole job, he didn't just want to destroy the Jews. He wanted to destroy the entire Persian and Mede Empire through cunning deceits. The scripture says manifold cunning deceits, man. This is the common Edomite trait, man. The scripture says the wicked is estranged from the womb, man. He goes as soon as he born speaking lies, man. Just like his daddy Cain. Just like his daddy Cain, man. Right? Most I said, well, he said, I don't know where my brother is. Am I my brother's keeper? When you just murdered the man. Okay? And that was it. And when you read further down, I'll tell you his entire goal was to transfer the kingdom from the Persians and Medes to the Macedonians. He didn't accomplish that, but Alexander the Greek did. Okay? So the scripture says, I want to get that just point where it says, manifold and cunning deceits to bring forth destruction, which is the same thing he's bringing now. Okay, so this whole thing on the surface, it seems like it's a good thing. Technology, everything is going into the direction of technology. Make life easier, make life better. We can all live longer. We can cure diseases within 24 hours. You know, somebody's blind, they can't walk, they can get access to do things they can never do before, man, or return to their original life by the means of technology. That's a lie, man. Okay, that's a lie. It's all about control, man. See, this is how he has to promote it, but it's all deceit. And that's why the scripture says, let me get 2 Ezra 16 and 70, close this out to the power of Yahweh. I just have to quickly do this video. All right, it says let me see here. Like it. 2 Ezra chapter 16. It's a classic precept. It's just a classic, man. And a lot of our people, the scripture says they went wandering after the beast, these nations. 2 Ezra 16 70. This whole chapter is good. But I just want to read a certain part. Let's read verse 69. It says, and they that consent unto them, if you believe this man, because he's going to come down with holy hell, man. Come down with holy hell. Okay? Because he's talking about being carted over to concentration camps. You read verse 68, things offered unto idols. When he's trying to set up his NWO, it's going to be a great persecution on those who fear Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. And the scripture says, verse 69, 2/3 of our people, they that consent unto them shall be had in derision. You're going to be mocked. And in reproach and trodden underfoot. You're going to be destroyed, man. If you consent unto them. Just like with the Jews. Just like with the Jews, man. Okay? That's why the precept said, let me get Ecclesiastes 2. Running short on time. Let me read Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 14. It says, the wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walketh in darkness. Or of course your eyes is in your head. But like the scripture saying, we have insight, man. We see what's happening, man. Right? A wise man, he's what? He's circumspect. His head is on a swivel, man. He's looking at everything, man. What's going on? What's taking place in the world? Current events, the news, linking it with prophecies. Right? He's occupied in the knowledge of the ancients. He's occupied in the prophecies. Right? But the fool walketh in darkness, as it tells you in the book of 1 Thessalonians, the children of the night. We're not of the night, man. We're in the daytime. We're in Yahweh Shai. We're in the truth, man. So that's the point, to get our wise man's eyes on his head, but the fool walketh in darkness, man. Right, and let me close it out with this precept here, Revelation the 20th chapter. It says this, it says, this is what we are waiting for. Revelation 24, and I saw the thrones and them that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai. Some brothers going to die, man, in them camps. And for the word of the Most High, which had not worshipped the beast, and neither his image. But you know the beast is going to NATO, the EU, the whore controls it, America. And this is going into his system, man. Right? His digital system, man. Which goes into what? Ties into his image. Neither his image, neither received the mark. That physical mark, man. which is the chip, man. And your head or your hands is going to go into it. It says neither his image, like we said, goes into his NWO, right? His science is at the forefront. Okay? See, he wants to be the God. Well, he is the God of this world on the left-hand side, man. He wants worship, man, by the means of that technology, right? This is Rome all over again, man. See, neither his image, neither had received the mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. So this lesson mainly went into the forehead, these BCIs, all right? And lived and reigned with the ᛖark 1,000 years, man. Okay? So it says your forehead or your hands, your right or your left, man. Okay? So if we overcome, we're going to reign with Yahweh Shai forevermore. Okay? Age after age after age, man. Okay, the first 1,000 years, that's when they're going to build up the kingdom on earth. All right? So, brothers and sisters, man, and like we said, this is their 2030 agenda. It's not that they're going to start in 2030. They want to be finished by 2030. Right? So this is pivotal times for him to make his move. So we have to remain circumspect, man. Right? And Esau, he don't even have that much time, man. The Most High, he's cutting the time short. All right? So that I'd like to say, hopefully this lesson was edifying. With that, I'd like to say, Shalom.